With 10 seconds left on the clock of Game 6 in the 1998 NBA Finals, he drives to the basket, crosses Brian Russell up, shoots over him, hit the game-winning shot. It's good. With 5 seconds left to go. Bulls win. Most of you have probably watched a game that either Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant had played in where they completely dominated or took over the game. Today I want to talk about why Michael Jordan is better than Kobe Bryant and why he was the greatest player to ever play. 3 things that separated him from everybody else was that he redefined the definition of an NBA superstar. He was a great role model, an icon to his community and to the NBA, and he was a great leader. I received most of my information from NBA.com or Wikipedia. Throughout Michael Jordan's career, he had many highlights and game-changing performances that redefined the game of basketball. When he was a freshman at North Carolina, they went to the national championship, and he hit the game-winning shot, and they won the national title that year. And after that year, he went to the NBA. And that was just one of many of achievements that he has accomplished. And I'm gonna read all you guys his accomplishments. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame this past year. He's a 6-time NBA champion. He went to the finals 6 times, and of those 6 times, he won every final. He's a 5-time NBA Most Valuable Player, 10-time scoring champion, 14-time NBA All-Star, 3-time NBA All-Star MVP, 6-time NBA Final Most Valuable Player, 1 first-time Defensive Player of the Year, 11-time All-NBA selection, 9-time All-Defensive NBA. He won the Rookie of the Year award, 2-time NBA Slam Dunk Contest. He was selected for one of the 50 greatest players to ever play. Selected as one of the top 10 teams to ever play on in NBA history. And those are all of his accomplishments. Now, Kobe, on the other hand, people say that he's better than Michael Jordan or that he's done more, but I'm going to read you his accomplishments of what he's done. He's a 4-time NBA champion. 3 of those championships, we all know he had a win with Shaq, and he finally got his first one by himself. He's went to the finals 6 times, and of those 6 times, he's only won 4. He was NBA Finals MVP in 2009. Most Valuable Player in 2008, 2-time scoring champion, 12-time NBA All-Stars, 3-time NBA All-Star MVP, 12-time NBA All-Selection. Also, he won the Defensive Player of the Year 10 times, and he was selected as one of the top rookies when he went into the draft, but he didn't win the Rookie of the Year. And then, another point that shows that Michael Jordan is also better than Kobe is that he was a better role model and a better icon to his community. Growing up as a kid, when he went to school, his teacher said that every morning he would come to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning and get workouts in, and he was really dedicated, and all he did was just go to school and play basketball. He didn't really go out and party or anything. And another thing that separates him from Kobe is that his apparel is probably one of the biggest things out there. I mean, Kobe's pretty big right now, but everybody knows Michael Jordan stuff. Everybody wears his stuff. It's known all over the world. And even though he's retired, like, people still wear his stuff today. And Kobe, on the other hand, as many of you know, he got caught up in that rape scandal a couple years back, which really hurt his image. And it kind of made him look like the bad guy of the NBA, and he went from being at the very top to the rock bottom of his life. Also, and the last thing that separated Michael Jordan from Kobe was that he was a great leader. Kobe, he's changed now, but when he first started out playing, he was really arrogant. You couldn't really tell him what to do. He thought he was the greatest, you know. And then he said he didn't want to be like Michael, he wanted to be like himself, which is good. But, I mean, in order to become better, you kind of want to idolize somebody that way so you can push yourself to be the next best. And Michael, on the other hand, he pushed his teammates to be better and was more about a team effort, and he wanted to get his points, but at the same time he wanted to win and make everybody else around him better, which is something that Kobe, I felt, didn't want to do. He just wanted to get all his points. Michael also pushed his teammates not only on the basketball court, but in life, just to be better people and to have a better impact on the people around you. So, in conclusion, MJ was an all-around player and a positive person and a great role model. And one of his quotes that he once said is, "My attitude is that if you push me towards something that you think is a weakness, then I will turn that perceived weakness into a strength." And that means to me like that he was so determined that regardless of if you had anything negative to say, then he was just going to turn it into a positive. Whereas Kobe, like, if you say something to him, he would just brush it off and he wouldn't really care. But that's what I like about Michael, is that he liked to prove everybody wrong and show everybody that he could, what you thought he couldn't do, that he could do. And this just shows how, like I said, how determined he was, and that if we all strive to have this type of mentality, that we could all be successful in life.
I'm sorry, did Paul come in?
No.
Okay. Hang on just a second then. All right. The visualization that you have at the beginning as your attention step, attention device, was, I thought, pretty effective. You got a clear statement of what your point of view is going to be. I thought your setup of the content was not quite as strong as it could be. Your argument is basically that there's a criteria that determines who's better. It's based on not only their accomplishments, but the influence that they've had on others and their leadership and the impact they've had on the game. So those would be the things that we ought to be looking at. And I was a little worried at first because it just seemed like we were going to get a review of statistics, and we did get a lot of those statistics. In the second half of the speech, though, you did do a little bit more of the contrast. When you gave the statistical comparisons, for instance, both of the players that you're referring to have very involving statistics. They are impressive. Their accomplishments are spectacular. And so I don't know how you really assess the two based on those kinds of things, which one's more important. You know, that's perhaps for another speech. I think the part where you get into the crux of the argument is the impact that the two players have on the game or on their communities or on the people that they play with. And you make a lot of good claims here, and you've got some basic explanation of those things. I just think it needs to be filled in a little bit more. You talk about Michael Jordan, for instance, pushing others to be better. Well, give me some examples of that. Who increased their game as a consequence of playing with Michael? Who was better in the public arena as a consequence of being around Michael? What did Michael do in the NBA that raised the NBA in public profile and created a positive attention on the game? On the Kobe thing, you've got a couple of negative incidents that you can point to as illustrations of what his problems are and why he doesn't measure up in that regard. I think you make a lot of statements, for instance, about his early years being a little bit more self-focused. Well, this is where we need some supporting material. I think people who follow the game closely might remember some of that, but not everybody will. And how did other people perceive it? Are there former teammates, or are there people, sportscasters or analysts, who have said those kinds of things, made those judgments, and felt that way. I mean, given all the statistics he has, why is it that he's perceived that way? Well, here's what teammates said, or here's what coaches said, and here's some illustration of those particular points so we could see that. On the leadership issue, for instance, I think that there might be some things that you could talk about how they move their teams or how they influence the times that could be a little bit stronger. You get sidetracked a couple of times just given those statistics. Sorry.